Hello, welcome to NCRT's live phone-in program. My name is Tanvi Khurana and you're watching us on Swam Prabha's channel number 31, Kishore Manch. Let me tell you today's topic, which is concept mapping, a pedagogical technique in social sciences. And concepts aren't new, they're there in every subject. So today we are going to discuss one of the methods of teaching in social sciences, which is concept mapping. Let's meet our expert for today, ma'am, Professor Gouri Srivastava. Welcome, ma'am.
Welcome. Namaskar.
Ma'am is the head of the Department of Education in Social Sciences, NCERT, and today she is going to tell us all about concept mapping. If you have any questions regarding this topic, please send us on our YouTube channel, which is NCERT Official. In the comments section, please write your questions and ma'am would be more than happy to answer all the questions. So let's begin with the discussion. Ma'am, so
Yes.
pedagogy, like we know, it's another word for education, it's an approach, it's a method of teaching. But how can you use it in social sciences and how this approach works?
Thank you, Tanvi, for posing such an interesting question. Well, if you know, the domain of social sciences is interesting because we are understanding a social phenomenon,
Right.
event, and which you and I may have lived or perhaps read. If it is history you have not seen, you have actually read it through textbooks. Now, as a teacher, as a person who is delivering the theme in the classroom process, we want children to participate, and therefore we encourage participatory methodologies.
Okay.
And I'm sure many of us are aware about what are the different techniques of making teaching and learning engaging, participatory, child-centered. These are the words normally each one of us use. But हम चाहते हैं हमारे बच्चे क्लासरूम में पार्टिसिपेट करें और समझें. I have been teaching content cum methodology in history teaching, and in one of the channels of Swam Prabha, I have already mentioned some of the well-used technique.
Okay.
For example, we have role play, dramatization, quiz method, many where
Okay.
children spontaneously participate, and sometimes you have to make them participate. Now, when I was scrolling and reading, I came across this term, concept mapping.
Okay.
We all use maps in social sciences, whether it's
Yes.
history, geography, political science. Map is an important visuals which gives us not only time, space, and that children want to relate to. But when I looked at concept map, and in an age of interdisciplinary methods, I found this very engaging.
Okay.
I said, how do I make concepts very intelligible to the child? कैसे बच्चे उसको रिमेंबर करें? हम बहुत सारी शब्दावलियों का प्रयोग करते हैं अपने टीचिंग लर्निंग में.
जी.
कई बार हम उस संदर्भ से जोड़ने लगते हैं और कई बार आज के संदर्भ में भी हम उसको यूज करते हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, टेक अ वर्ड लाइक रेवोल्यूशन.
Yeah.
Now revolutions are both perpetrated by bloodshed, and they are sometimes bringing change but without bloodshed.
Yeah.
Now you have industrial revolution, you had the French revolution, you had the Russian, so many revolutions. And today we use the term even now. For example, we have blue revolution, we have white revolution, and green revolution, so many. But to understand the linkages, I would focus more on that. How do we understand linkages and draw connection? For that, a mapping is important. If you are attempting a question and if the question is posed like it, what are the causative factors that lead to a particular event? Then we start thinking and pondering. It could be economic, it could be social, it could be political, and then drawing the linkages, we write our essays, isn't it? So a mapping technique, a concept map, is take a concept and start drawing linkages. It's like branching out. It's
Okay.
like a flow chart. और उसमें आप जब वो concept डालेंगे, then it prevents rote memorization.
Okay.
It's the understanding that takes precedence, because you are making a map, not only visually drawing on the paper that you have, or it could be a computer screen, but you're imagining it mentally. So it synchronizes your ideas mentally as well as the one that you reproduce. So I would rather put it like this कि जो मैंने इस concept map को पढ़ा, it's not new, it has been used in science, it has been used in different research methodologies. But for me, when I started using it, it was my journey of understanding certain concept myself. क्योंकि जब तक हम clear नहीं है, हम उस विषय को बेहतर ढंग से नहीं पढ़ा सकते हैं और बता सकते हैं. So in my Nishta programs, I have been using this, sharing with the teachers, getting their ideas out of it and building forward, because for me to make a concept and a technique of teaching intelligible is first to share with the teachers. So it was a process of reading, sharing, that I decided this could be a very important method and one that could link knowledge, understanding and application. तो मुझे लगा कि जब मैं इस जर्नी में इवॉल्व कर रही हूँ, क्यों ना मैं आपको इस चैनल के थ्रू भी शेयर कराऊं.
That's so nice of you, ma'am. Like you said, that I just forgot.
I forgot. Yeah. What you want me to say is, can you give us some example of how you can draw a concept map?
Yes.
By giving some examples?
Before the examples, I was asking, like you said, that you found this concept mapping very engaging, and your perspective was very different from the others, like because maps are being used in all the subjects, and the way you saw it was different from others.
I would not say that it was different from others, because once you start working on it, you think you are doing the path finding. The path has already been founded. It's developing on something that you have read and relating it with what you're basically trying to link it with.
Okay.
For example, I took up certain exemplars. I said, let me now draw a concept around that and then pose certain questions for my own clarification, because when I enter a classroom, I should be very clear that this concept is part of a theme. Now, if a child wants to branch out and link the past with the present, he should be able to use this concept in a classroom context.
Okay.
Then it should arouse in him the curiosity. सिर्फ इस concept को इसी theme से जोड़ सकते हैं? क्या हम इसको और भी theme से जोड़ सकते हैं? क्या हम past और present को compare कर सकते हैं? Because one of the objectives of social sciences is linking the past with the present. And this technique, which is, I would rather put it not new, it has been used, but bring it in the classroom. It will make the child relate the past and present. And let me tell you, many children are very innovative and creative. क्या वो इस मैप के द्वारा कुछ और भी चीज नहीं बता सकते? They can do it, and you never know, they can innovate something.
They can.
So I used certain examples, and I'm not saying, I would like to humbly put it that it's my own way of understanding things, and then I share it with people and build on it. It's like a building block which I'm working upon it, and probably read more and more to make this technique more usable in the teaching and learning process.
Sure. Please use some examples now, of different concepts.
Yes. I would rather now take a concept like personality, isn't it? All of us read personalities because they form part of different themes in social sciences.
Yeah.
It could be in sports, it could be a historical figure, it could be any contemporary person that we would like to know about. Then how can I use this technique? I made a flow chart, but please, every point that you see here can be further branched upon, because it is developing from one to another, and like branches, it is also makes us clear about a terminology that we want to find out.
Okay.
So here I take the first example, and then I also have some questions for pondering and discussing, which you may further build upon. Now the first diagram that I am showing you, you can see on the screen, is personalities. Now the first thing that came to my mind was, do you know of some personalities who were change makers? Many of us read about them and we get influenced. So I pose this in a diagram form, and then the second linkage is, now we have certain we have read about it. It's not that certain personalities have just been appearing in a textual material. Many of us through different visual techniques, through print methods, whatever, we know about the person.
Yeah.
Then the other thing that we would like to know is, all of us get interested and we sometimes read about it. What was the early life that shaped their persona? Now this you can find in some print material, the material that you are accessing,
Yeah.
but this technique of concept map would also take you further, like a branch, to know more about. Perhaps this personality was born in the area that you lived in. So you would like to see which district, which place, which family circumstances shaped his persona. So from one personality you go to the
Other.
location, the district
Okay.
where the person has taken birth. Then again you will get motivated when you make a map like this, that what is the location of the district now? Where is it figuring? What is the important aspect of this district that I would like to know? So through one personality you have tried to link it with his early life, the place of his birth,
Okay.
and his parentage. Now these are like branches that you can see. The branches may not appear in this diagram, but you can make it. Then the next thing that you can discuss are the trials and tribulations, because nobody becomes what they are in a day.
Yeah.
I think all of us agree. Today you are a student, God knows what you will become later in your life. Therefore, when you make a map, you start thinking, what was the journey? And then you come to the school, maybe here also. The school is where I am studying, or the school is in the place, the state that I'm located in. So again, your mind starts drawing those linkages, and you will understand the personality not in 4 lines, but a concept of personality can take your mind in such a diverse way and in such an interesting way that you can put the personality in the region of location. And if you are a social science person, you would like to know, what are the climatic conditions? Was there a natural disaster? So when you pose such question, it becomes so interesting. It's not just reading, it's also taking you to different areas of your interest. And by doing this, आप कभी भी नहीं भूलेंगे उस पर्सनालिटी को, क्योंकि उसकी केवल achievement is not the focus. Through the concept map, you are actually drawing bondage and linkage with other disciplines, and this is the interlinkage that I see within the discipline and across. Therefore, I see concept map as one that translates interdisciplinary approaches in practice within and across the discipline.
Okay. This
Then-
sounds very interesting.
Yes.
It's like a family tree.
Yes, yes. You said a very nice thing, like family trees. It's up to you to explore your interest, because you're not just memorizing, you're linking a body of knowledge with the past, present, and definitely, why not future? Because if this has happened in the past, what will be the futuristic vision? So it's shaping the past, present, and pathway to the future. Now moving ahead with this diagram, then we go to the transition from I to we,
Okay.
because many of the personalities are change makers, and therefore it is not the individual while we study the individual, it is the contribution, and the contribution must have impacted society at a different point of time. Now we have many personalities in mind. I have many because I have just worked on a booklet on Mahatma Gandhi with a team of my colleagues. Then I put this map to understand a persona like him. So that helped me to understand and probably remember that there are so many other things that could be done
Okay.
to understand that particular point of time. Then it is a transition from I to we. Then the impact on the personal and social life. You can move on further, and the relevance of why we are studying that personality today. It could be somebody of your locality that has interested you, why that person is so revered, that after going through this concept map you can draw a map because I think it's linking yourself with your inner self, and it's a map that also makes a visual framework in your mind. And this is why I took a example like personality. Now we would also like to pose questions. Certain questions आपके दिमाग में आ रहे होंगे, मेरे दिमाग में भी आए, और कुछ जो मैं लिख के लाई वो मैं आपके साथ शेयर करना चाहती हूँ. कि एक सवाल ये, why are personalities studied? Number 1. Number 2, what is their relevance in contemporary time? Then locate places associated with personalities, prepare a small diagram or a skit, and develop a timeline. So it's a technique of understanding a concept, situating the concept in the context, and if it is the present context, how would we use it? Then pose certain questions. You can innovate furthermore to it, not just restrict yourself. This is how you can understand. Now you can take another example of a natural disaster, and you can ask yourself these questions through making a visual map and ask, what are the causative factors that are responsible for this disaster? Then where have they occurred, and what are the mechanisms for addressing it? Building it further, has it occurred in my vicinity? What are the ways, the level of preparedness? So any example that interests you, because remember, you are making a map on the paper, you are making a mental map, you are drawing a linkage, and you can link it up with assistive technologies that will help you to showcase it. For example, you can use computer, you can use a digital device, or you can use a timeline, you can use different sorts of teaching learning material to make this concept actually creative expression of your understanding. So this is the beauty of one example that I shared. Would you like me to show another one?
Please do.
Yes. Now
I am more curious.
Thank you so much. This is what this technique that made me curious, and the anchor who's speaking also trying to understand, because this is the second one that I would like to share with you, is monuments.
Okay.
Now movements, sorry, and movements are something that we all know. What is a movement? And when we take a movement per se, then it has the past, it has the present, and we envision if it is having a futuristic perspective, what it would be like.
Okay.
Now taking one example, this is just my way of noting it down. You may please move ahead, add on to the examples that you may think about it. You may improvise, because let me put it, no learning is complete. It's always on both the sides, because I feel that a teacher is as much a learner as a student, because we all come through different experiences, and this is the second example that I would like to share, is movements. Now when we study a movement, the first branch that I wanted to think about is, what is the genesis? Why does a movement take place?
Okay.
What are the causative factors, isn't it? And then we will put it in a situation. For example, if I want to study a movement in a historical context, I would study all the movements per se. क्या बात है कि इस movement का एक idea what was the idea that mobilized people, isn't it? What was so unique about the movement, and did it bring change? What sort of change did it bring? So
the change could be positive or negative, right?
See, movements have different seeds. They have different, it is how you understand it,
right,
isn't it? It could be one that may not have had that impact that one wants to see, but definitely it leaves a seed of our understanding.
Okay.
That what perpetrated it, who were the participants, did it achieve the objective for what it stood for? So many questions come, and that you can frame it into a map form. Okay. You can have small branches and go further on to the contemporary times. Then you have definitely, when we start studying, we also pose question, did such a movement occur? It could be environment environment related. It could also be those that we had freedom struggle of India, and since I'm working on the Quit India movement, which I often quote, it's my own journey of understanding it further and further, that what makes it so unique. Then further going down the line is what are the important characteristics. Then of course the idea of this mapping technique is to increase a questioning approach in your mind, and to understand that when we start questioning, we are actually innovating new ways of understanding a phenomena, and therefore when these questions come in the mind of the child, they will be able to add on to the body of knowledge. I see another thing in this is reading. Because if I suppose I made this map, I didn't make some effort to read, then suddenly I felt, oh no, I should read more because it's not sufficient. So many people have worked on this, and there are so many exemplars that have been already there. They are there, and if you see the Google, there's endless resource available. But then what makes it different is my way of building on these branches to make my learning effective. Further, I must delimit it to the stage in which I am teaching the child, because it can't go on endlessly. But yes, we must leave it to the child to go on building, because you never know, it can arouse an interest in his or her subject, and maybe you can draw a better concept map in your area of interest. So these are certain things, exemplars, that I would like to share with you. Going further beyond, there was one that I thought would engage your interest, is most of us get interested in art and architecture. Buildings we see across, and there are umpteen numbers. You have forts, you have beautiful architectural monuments. So many monuments can be classified based on the interest. Now how do I make a map for making this study interesting? I would first ask the period in which it was constructed. Who was the patronage? Who patronized it? किसने उसको मदद की बनाने के लिए? Then going further beyond is that what was the kind of material used, and it will arouse the child's interest, because अगर बच्चों ने अपने आसपास में देखा, they will go and feel. Sometimes they say don't touch the monument, but then if you see a monument, you would ask, what was the bricks used, what was the technique used, what was the architectural principle behind it. And one is knowing about conservation, one is encouraging the feeling of conserving. That's, I think, is important, and I felt if somebody reads it and if somebody internalizes it, would go further and say, oh, I think we can do it, and that we has to come forward. And therefore these are certain examples that I have used in my own way of understanding first, and probably building on this through various discussion forums, and maybe I'll try it out with children like you to know more how further we can go about it. So it's a process of learning continuously, but it has an impact. And here I had some questions that I thought I can share with you, because it's not just the map, it should also pose certain questions. And therefore the questions that link to this is, what is a movement? How are movements different from one another? Who are known and the lesser known? How have these movements contributed in struggle for the aim that they stood for? And what are the lessons drawn? So you see that a technique leads to understanding. It also leads to you posing questions, and when you answer these questions in in assessment related questions, then your understanding becomes so clear. You will never memorize. As I said earlier, this is how knowledge, understanding and application get linked.
But ma'am, this one needs a lot of research, right?
Yes. It needs research, because once you draw a map, it will promote reading habits in you. 1, 2, it will also make you understand that you can become a researcher. If you want to take a project, it's not just going in a very mundane manner of taking a project, then collecting the material and just transcribing it. When you make a map, you are actually trying to engage the interest,
Yeah.
and probably your project, if you use such a map, will become very interesting.
I completely agree. But what if a student realizes in the middle that he is not interested and this is not his cup of tea? Then what?
Then he can make another concept map of why is he not getting interested. That could also be a possibility. Probably the resources अगर उसने consult किया वो समझ नहीं आया उसको या भाषा उसको नहीं समझ में आई, so he can make, maybe not write, but also draw a map to show why the interest has just stopped at a particular point of time. So it's the way of how you organize your thinking. This is my understanding of making things very, very intelligible, clear and meaningful. It is assistive because if you organize yourself more, the linkage between facts and phenomena becomes very clear. आप कर सकते हैं और इससे आप कभी भी नहीं भूलेंगे. देखिए, हम लोग ने कोई विषय को अगर बहुत गहराई से पढ़ी हो तो शायद हमने उसको लिखा, ट्रांसक्राइब किया, लेकिन दिस इज अ डायग्रामेटिक रिप्रेजेंटेशन ऑफ फैक्ट. बहुत सारे डायग्राम्स हम ऑलरेडी यूज करते हैं इन द फॉर्म ऑफ bar diagrams, we are using pie charts, we are using Venn diagrams, so many diagrams we use. पर ये भी एक उनमें से तरीका है जिसको बहुत लोग इस्तेमाल करते हैं. मैंने भी कोशिश किया और शायद I would put it like that, it's my own journey of further working on it, because I think this is how one innovates, one creates, and you can also find out the bottleneck. वो कौन सी चीज़ थी जो मुझे इस चीज़ को समझने में दिक्कत आई, और आप करके देखिए. you can do it, because when you sit, you look at a question and you start thinking from your mind. Are we not doing it when we answer a question? We sit and we ponder for 2 minutes. This is the question and this is we answer. You're already thinking mentally, but when you make it in a diagram form, as this the two I shared, you can go on building branches, but they have to get delimited. For a research, for a project, you can go on. But when you are sitting and you have to actually attempt something, the time is very short.
Right.
And therefore the delimitation is important. Don't we use diagrams? Don't we use certain benchmarks, certain pointers to remember things?
We definitely use them.
Yeah.
But ma'am, how do they help in assessment?
They help because I said earlier, as my understanding goes, is you're not memorizing.
Yeah.
You are actually drawing linkages between fact and phenomena, and linkage is a very powerful method of not encouraging rote learning.
Okay.
We don't forget a thing if we can draw linkages.
We do.
And in an interdisciplinary age, when there is a bridging of methodologies, we talk of using different methods, both quantitative, qualitative, to understand a phenomena in the actuality in which it existed. Are we not doing that? So this is also a way of understanding and engaging the activities, the social phenomena that we are seeing across ourselves. If we want to understand the linkage between human activity and nature, this also can be used, because this is the way things become interesting, through a technique where the visual that we transcribe and what we think gets linked together. So I would say that it's a journey that we have to join hands together, learning from each other, building more of these maps, because ultimately all of us want good quality learning and good quality teaching.
Absolutely. And everyone needs education for their further career development and their growth, right? Ma'am, is there any message you have for our viewers?
Yes, I have a message. Start making a concept map for yourself. See how creative it is. This is a small example that I shared because it's my own understanding. So probably I'll be reading sometime a better map that you have drawn and maybe working further on it. This is the message I have. So keep making, keep understanding and keep doing. That's all.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for being here with us and for explaining this wonderful concept of concept mapping. If you have any concept in your mind related to, like ma'am gave a few examples, monuments, movements, art, education, anything, or maybe family tree, please get into it, get into its depth and start mapping it. Thank you so much for watching this program, and tomorrow's topic is cyber wellness. Yes, we'll come back again at the same time, which is 11:30 tomorrow, same time. Till then, namaskar.